Traffic to the net tonight. Keep play moving forward here.
All right. You can feel the vibration coming right about now.
One shift at a time. One period at a time.
It's regular season hockey to talk about tonight.
Let's find our feet out there, bud. Get a good jump early.
It's a big one. People are counting on us. Well, game on!
Well, game on, eh? Grab the net, sticks in the middle. It's time for episode 20 of the Straight Off the Pipe podcast. We are a proud part of the Heavy Hockey Network, and as always, I'm Dash in the box beside me in cell block 99 in the grandest of prairies. We got the lowest to my Peter or the Homer to my Marge, but he's the mega thread, Mike Dursa. Hey, buddy. Well, we agreed that the Oilers would be 2-0 by the time episode 20 came around, and looks like we were right.
Oilers' future's so bright, you had to wear shades, eh?
Hey, buddy, it's the way we roll. I don't get a lot of sleep around here.
All right, so season kicked off on Wednesday with a shootout win against the Canucks. What did you think of that one?
Yeah, I didn't like to see the blown lead. Obviously, the second goal on Smitty was a little Smitty-esque. Those ones come with what the goaltender brings for us. So it is what it is. We pulled out the win at the end of the day, and that's what mattered. So not ugly, not pretty, but it'll do. What do you think?
I thought Mike Smith made two mistakes in that game, and one of them was a play on the puck that didn't exactly go his way, but unfortunately it didn't end up costing us. And then, he kind of got caught, I think, trying to pull across a little early, and it was a good shot, kind of using a little bit of a screen, but if he would have kind of held his net a little bit, would have hit him. So, a little bit of a deceptive shot, but I think he got sort of busted cheating a little bit there. I thought Mike Smith, though, this season has been nothing short of fantastic. I mean, last night he put on a goaltending clinic against the Flames, and really the two goals against the Canucks, one was on him, and I think the other one was on the penalty kill. Nuge tipped it into our nets, so I'm not going to fault Mike Smith for that. But I thought last night he had as solid of an effort as you can ask of your goalie. There were a lot of shots. I don't think all of them were dangerous, but he made the saves he needed to make. And I thought, when it was 4-2 there, he had the puck kind of late there. He was going to take a shot at the fucking empty net again. Kind of glad
he's going to do it this year, man. They were talking about it on the Dusty show too there, and he agrees. I don't know, Smitty keeps talking about it, so one of these times the opportunity will come. Kind
of glad he didn't, because there was a flame sort of right in between the circles there, and you muff on that, and you pretty much give him an empty net goal. So I'm glad he kind of thought a better of it and kind of made a safe pass and went from there. But I'm thinking, oh boy, here we go. As soon as he had the puck there.
I had the same feeling for sure. Yeah, I'd say Smitty's probably been our best player in both of the first two games. Taking away that second goal in the first game, which is just like I said, one of those things that comes along with Smitty. He's been pretty much perfect, man. Like what I've seen so far, I think he's been playing out of his net, top of his crease, challenging, found the fountain of youth. Does he look more athletic this year? Like the way he's, recovering and bouncing back and forth, and his push off looks really good. So yeah, I thought Smitty was fantastic. You said that, he put on a clinic with the shots. We got heavily outshot, but the grade A scoring chances were 12-9 for the Oilers. So those 47 shots, 9 were the grade A chances. But, it reminded me a little bit of 80s hockey, man. The goalie keeps you in it at the beginning, and then skill just eventually rises to the top. and comes through.
Yeah, I mean, Calgary's still in that spot where they don't really have the game breakers, right? How many times did Gaudreau have good looks and couldn't do anything? Um, Smitty there, I kind of enjoyed him stoning Matthew Tkachuk 3 times in a row on one series there. And, the guy that you don't like so much, he was in Tkachuk's head last night. Like, early on, Keith just said, "No, I'm not having it," and took the puck from him. I think he did it about 3 or 4 times last night. Like he just shut him down. Him and CC, I thought were fairly solid last night. They did allow some shots, but I don't think they allowed a lot of dangerous activity out there. And the only thing I'll say, they got sort of victimized on one play, but part of that I think was on Zach Cassian there. Where the guy got left alone in front because Keith and CC went to the same guy and he put it in. But there was a play on
That on the first goal on Mangiapane's goal.
It ended up being like along the side of the net, and I think it was probably the first one.
I think that was the first one. I kind of think Keith lost track of Mangiapane, though. I think he kind of let him get that uncontested rebound, if we're talking about the same goal. And maybe there was just some confusion, and that happens when you're only 2 games in with a new team, right?
There was a bit of blown coverage. Like and Nurse did the same thing with Bouchard on a play.
Yeah,
I can't remember if it was the first or the second goal, but they both chased behind the net, the same guy, and they left a guy in front. Keith and CC kind of got pulled over, and there was a guy left there and put in. But before that whole thing happened, Cassian had a chance to get the puck out on the half wall, and he didn't do it. So everybody wants to pin it on Keith, but it's kind of a collective fire drill there.
I can see him losing track of his player, but I can also see that happening pretty commonly when you're 2 games in with a new team. And I remember them saying even last year it took probably 6 to 10 games for Tyson Barrie to get a claim to playing with the Oilers and figuring things out. I'm gonna be hard on Keith when I need to be, but I thought they played okay. They, for the most part, my eye test said they probably played the most against Lindholm, Gaudreau, and Tkachuk. So it's not like they weren't taking on tough competition,
right?
I because I know you're going to bring them up. I had to, take a close watch. I tried to kind of watch some isolation shifts with Keith and CC a little bit and just kind of watch them and see. And, I was looking for errors and I couldn't really find them. So, it's kind of one of those games where I think I didn't notice Keith a lot other than that first goal where, that scramble. And for a defenseman, that's not a bad thing. No. So, I thought that was positive. And I kept trying to watch. I wanted to come on here and say, Keith can't break up a cycle, and you know what? He didn't need to. He gets the puck out of the end a quicker than a hiccup, man. That puck gets on his stick, and it doesn't matter whether he's high and hard, whether it's on somebody's tape. What he likes to do is, I think you commented a couple episodes ago about how hard he passes the puck. What I actually think he's doing is 80% of the time he's just looking for that deflection for the dump and chase. He sees a forward in that general direction and he just hammers it that way and hopes the guy gets a stick on it, the tip in, and maybe he's looking for a line change or whatever. But, you don't have to skate around in your own end chasing the other team if you're just hammering it out every time. So, a combination of how quickly this team can move the puck, as well as I think having that third line that can provide opportunity and possession has really helped keep the puck out of our end. I kept watching for an opportunity for them to be trapped and just kind of never really happened.
Yeah, they're erasing things before they really get going in their own end. I watched a few times where, I think it was almost like the second shift of the game. Keith went over to Tkachuk, took the puck from him, quick out, and out they were. Let's be blunt here. There was no fucking around. It's like, I'm older, so I'm going to save all my steps, so I'm taking the puck from you, and we're getting out. And if it goes for icing, okay, well, I guess we'll take the face off, but I'm not fucking around. So it's a simplified game. I don't see him trying to do too much. It's just, get in, get out, and from your second pair, I think you can kind of live with that. The one thing I'll say, though, with them, and it's the same thing with Nurse and Barrie, it's maybe almost a little bit of an elementary hockey kind of idea, but you got to kind of know who's going to be the guy to clear the net front and who's going to chase puck. If they get on that page, and I'd like to see CC be the guy that, because he's a tank. Be the guy to be in front of the net and worry about that, and let Keith go chase. And once they get that kind of figured out, I think they'll be just fine. They've been just fine through 2 games, in my opinion. And I'm really liking what I'm seeing out of Evan Bouchard. It's kind of more of the same, but a little bit more poise. When he gets it, he's looking to make that pass, but he doesn't take too long. Like if and I don't want to talk about it too much, but if there was one thing I'd be critical of Ethan Bear from before, is that sometimes he does take too long to make that decision and make that out, and sometimes that can burn you. It's good to have patience and poise and be calm and cool and collected, but sometimes you can overdo it. And I think that sometimes got into Ethan Bear's game. And I don't want to be hard on him because he's not here anymore, and every player can do the same thing. But yeah, what I see from Bouchard, I've been happy with his play, and I think he's doing just fine. And some nights they're giving him elevated minutes because they don't. I feel like they don't feel as confident, in key situations. I think with Tyson Barrie, you have Barrie. You have Barrie out there for those offensive, offensive side.
I certainly didn't feel confident when Barrie was out there.
Yeah, we're looking for Keith and Cece to be the weak link, and I don't think they are. I think they're treading water and doing what they need to do, and beautiful start to a play by Draisaitl up to Cece. Cece takes a second to let Yessi get right to the blue line, and then threads the needle. Yessi does a good job of corralling it and goes in. And what a shot. He had about 9 inches of net. That's all Markstrom gave him. He had to shoot across Markstrom's body and beat him clean. That was a beautiful goal, and that was a key goal. And, if that goal doesn't happen, I don't think we're celebrating a win and being 2-0 today. I think that totally would have changed the landscape of the game. Probably goes into overtime, and who the hell knows what happens. And that goal, that's a backbreaker. The smile on Jake.
To cut the momentum for the Flames, right? The timing was perfect.
Yeah, it broke their backs. It broke their will, really. And to see that smile from Puljujärvi and that look of raw determination, awesome, love
Does anybody enjoy playing hockey more than Jesse Puljujärvi? Unbelievable, man! It's so fun to watch. It's contagious. Yeah, that goal was awesome. Cross ice sauce by Draisaitl, like only Draisaitl can. Right on Cece's tape, which makes Cece's job easy. But let's be honest, he put that puck right where Yessa needed it in order to be able to split 2 guys and get to the net. And let me take the opportunity to say, Puljujärvi put that straight off the pipe.
Just about, just about.
Man, he picked the 1 millimeter inside of the post where the net was and just snapped that home like Mike Badano off his back foot, man. It was a thing of beauty. And if he can develop that type of not only drive, but that shot with his game, I'd been on a couple different podcasts and predicted Yessa will be the 3rd leading scorer for the Oilers. And if this is what we're going to see out of him on a consistent basis, what we've seen in the preseason in the first 2 games, I'm pretty confident in my pick. Couple things just going back to what you'd said on Keith and Cece as well that I made notes here to comment on was, I agree. And, let me start this maybe by asking you a quick question. Do you not think that Keith and Cece were deployed perfectly?
In that game last night?
Last night, yeah. I'd say what Playfair did with those guys was damn near perfect. They played 17 and 18 minutes. Bouchard played 20. Nurse played Pronger-like minutes of 30 plus. And I don't even mind that. Nurse seems to be able to handle more and more minutes as this goes on. And, and we talked many times about how Keith would need to be in that 17-minute mark. He played 17:26. CC just a bit over 18. CC +2 got that nice assist. Keith 17 minutes +1, couple of block shots each. Like that's exactly what we need those guys to do on against a second or first line for Calgary. Call it whatever you want to. I actually thought the Mangiapane line was better than the Goudreau line, but and Bouchard played almost 20 minutes. So, we've also talked a lot about how the defense, the young defense needs to take a step up this year in order to, kind of fill the role that maybe CC and Keith wouldn't be able to take on 20 minutes a night each. And Bouchard, I think, maybe is doing that faster and better than anticipated for me. I loved Bouch's game. I thought he could walk the blue line maybe as good as Barrie offensively. He quarterbacks, the offensive play very well. His first pass out of his own end is immaculate, almost perfect. And I think he's got a better defensive game from Barrie. I was listening to the Cult of Hockey earlier today, and McCurdy said that in 16 minutes of Tyson Barrie 5-on-5 hockey last night, the shots were 18-7 for the Flames. And in Barrie's overall 22 minutes, the shots were 25-9 for the Flames. I thought Barrie blew it on the Mangiapane breakaway there. He's got to be the guy that goes back on that play, and he kind of got a little bit lost there. And that's where I miss Ethan Bear. Because you know what, I think if we had, an ifs and buts or candies and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. And I love Warren Fogle, so let's not take it that way. But that's where Ethan Bear was awesome with Darnell Nurse, because that 5-on-5 play, they were an excellent pairing. Whereas I still see so much chaos in the Barrie Nurse combination.
If you put Barrie with anybody else in our lineup, it's ugly. Like
it's worse.
It's worse. Yeah.
How do you play with Darnell Nurse for 22 minutes and still give up 25-9 shots when you're on the ice with him?
Yeah.
I see Bouchard taking maybe a first pairing role sooner than later. And
I just at some point you can't get outshot. That's going to come back to bite you when you get into people that don't make mistakes on their shots. But you said it
earlier, the Flames don't have those game breakers, but you go 25-9 shots against, it's going to go the other way when you've got a different team on the ice.
If you get carved like we did last night against Vegas, it's a different hockey game. I don't think there's an option of changing Nurse's partner unless you're scratching Tyson Barrie. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I can see Bouchard jumping into that top pairing and having Keith and CC stay where they are, and Barrie just playing more of a Marc-Andre Bergeron type of role where you're playing every minute of the power play. But in hindsight, Bouchard and Nurse could probably operate that first power play, or the only power play the Oilers have. Really, they played 2 minutes, just as well as Barrie could. And a guy like Bear or somebody else could hold a lot more defensive prowess than what Barrie's been doing 5-on-5.
If you get into that kind of scenario, then I would dress 7D.
Yeah, interesting, hey?
Yeah, and just have him as your power play quarterback. Although, you do that.
Russell plays both sides, right? Then you can at least flip him over to the right side. And
you do that kind of stuff, and I just think that it might work, it might not. The guy might not be in, he's sitting for 12 minutes, and then all of a sudden you ask him to go out on a power play. It might not work either. Might be a lot of bobbled pucks at the blue line and end up in the back of your net. I don't know what the solution is there, but I thought Barrie was good defensively in the playoffs, so maybe he's just regular season chop liver. I don't know. Last night I was thinking too, like, the additions of Hyman and Fogle, really make the Battle of Alberta that much more enjoyable. And I'm almost wondering, without those two guys in the lineup, if it's not a different game as well. I mean, they allow us to play just a lot more hard of hockey. We can play Sutter hockey with Daryl Sutter now, just because we've got a little bit of meat and potatoes in the lineup.
Man, Fogle goes to the net like a jackhammer. How many wraparound attempts has he tried in 2 games?
Yeah,
Like, he's
well,
constantly driving to the greasy
the
areas and trying to get to the paint, man.
yeah, the one
Fun
was
to
hard.
watch.
The one was hard too, and then the one time Hyman went to the net like Glenn Anderson, he drove the far side, and you're gonna have to take me down to get me not to go. It was a thing. Like I like watching that. That's great. I love it. I wish Draisaitl would have that kind of mentality more too. You're gonna have to take me out to get the puck from me. He does usually when he's on the walls, but I just mean like in open ice, just go to the net and refuse to, have anything other than you in the net or the puck in the net or both. Like just go hard.
Exactly. I have a hard time seeing 37 on his jersey without thinking of Dean McCammon, man. It's just I don't know what it is with me. I can't erase that yet.
It's funny you bring up Diener. So in Grand Prairie a couple of years ago, there was George Larac, Jason Strudwig, and Dean McCammon all signing autographs, and I took my Max to that. And the first guy we sat down with was Struddy. And Struddy was great, and if we have him on the show, I'm gonna thank him again. But
Yeah, he'll come up in a few weeks, he said.
yeah, he was like really personal with everybody, asking kids like about their minor hockey and how they're doing, and just like really detailed questions. He was great. And then McCammon's sitting in the middle of Strudwig and the Rat. And all Dean wants to talk about is, because he's sitting beside George, he's like, yeah, if you go on YouTube, you can watch me fight. I think it was like Maxine Talbot from the Penguins or something. He's like, you can watch my fight. So he's trying to compete with George, and it was just funny because I don't think of Dean McCammon as a fighter, right? But for the kids, that's what he wanted to talk about. It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he was like a mini version of Todd Marchand or something.
Yeah.
Not mini version, but a lesser version. It's because he was a big boy. But
yeah, a little bigger, probably a little better hands, and a bit more of a goal scorer. But
well, who doesn't have better hands than Todd Marchand? Let's be honest. Between him and Belanger, the triangle there, I don't know.
scored when it mattered, though.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So last episode, you're trying to drive Derek Ryan out of town, and here he is scoring the first goal against his ex-team. Pretty cool to watch the ex-Flames kind of be our best players against the Flames. Like it almost shows that competitive hatred, with that battle with Derek Ryan wanting to show who he was and scoring the first goal, and Smitty being the player of the game that he was, and it's fun to watch, man.
I think it was the end of the second. Kachuk kind of took a shot from outside the blue line on Mike Smith. Smith just kind of like lackadaisical last second, just Devon White's the puck and then throws it into the corner like fuck off,
Yeah.
bitch. I laughed at that pretty hard.
I laughed at a few moments with Chase on in the first game too, where these guys probably sat on the bus together for the last 2-3 years, and he was just hacking away at Chason. And how Oilers is it that Chason scores a power play goal against a, like what PTO player gets to play on the first line power play, by the way?
I mean, that's what he did with us, so.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's made a career of it. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's the PTO machine. It's kind of wild.
Nice to see Zach come back and play with some passion. I thought that he played a pretty smart game, actually. Like engaged physically, had 6 hits. Instead of fighting Zadorov, went to the bench and blew him a kiss. I thought that was pretty good. Smart of him not to go and drop the mitts and fight. I think that's no need when we're in the lead and he's just coming off an injury. So I thought he was effective.
Well, that was hilarious, him skating away with 2 sticks.
Cassian-esque.
And they get a penalty because he didn't have a helmet and they were trying to hold him up, so they get an interference call and he's got 2 sticks. Like,
you'd think you'd get off the ice, eh? Like you just fell and hit your head the last time you played a game. There he was, like still trying to rough it up with his helmet on. He almost tried to engage in a little scrum there too. And I'm like, man, get off the ice! Like you're just gonna hurt yourself again.
He Kachuk with that move. Like that's how it all started. Like we're gonna shit disturb and and then not do anything. So kind of gave him a taste of his medicine. I kind of enjoyed that. That was all right.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it.
So I guess I'll just kind of get your take, and we'll use this for the oil blowout. You know, Yamamoto and Anderson kind of jostling, and then Yamamoto takes a headbutt. Elliot Friedman talks about, you know, a hand being up on Yamamoto's face first, and then the headbutt follow through. So we're not calling it a headbutt. Bullshit.
What is it, a WWE headbutt? Just because you put your hand there first?
Yeah.
Count?
So what do you think about the play and kind of the fine? And I'll give you my take on
it. You know, hockey's a fast game. You slow things down, and it's a lot easier to be the judge and jury. In the moment when it happened, I didn't even notice actually until they showed that one camera angle. So I don't know if it's just like that one camera angle, but it does look like he lunges forward with his head. Now, you know, from that angle, whether his hand's there, so I don't know. But to me, I've been in enough fights that when you're leading with a headbutt, you have that motion, right? You just kind of like your shoulders drop and you push your weight forward, and it felt like he did that. And like, let's be honest, he's got a reputation for being an absolute hothead. It's not the first time that Rasmus Anderson's done something stupid on the ice, and to do it to one of the top 3 smallest guys in the NHL, I think is a little gutless, to be honest. Like, Rasmus is, you know, 6 foot or 6'1", 200 pounds or whatever he is, and he's got to lead with his helmet when he's engaging a guy that's 5'9". So that's my opinion on that. And what I also liked was Draisaitl's comment in the post game. I don't know if you heard it, but they asked, I think it was Spector asked him about it, and he said, "Well, yeah, I'm not gonna comment on it, but I guarantee you, Yamo didn't care. He was smiling, but I mean, yeah. He was also bleeding." So
yeah. I heard Draisaitl and Puljujärvi together. Their little interviews. That was pretty good.
That's funny.
Yeah, I kind of think, like, you know what, if I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Yeah, he headbutted him, but I think it's the reason why he got fined and didn't get a game or two is because he hit him like above the visor. If he would have crushed him below the visor, he's getting suspended. I think it's all to do with where he caught him more than anything. That's really.
Has it been said that he's not going to face?
He got.
Did he get fined?
He got a $5,000 fine today. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
Yeah. So, you know, I laugh at that because you're not curbing the anything. Those $5,000 fines are, I mean, to an NHL player, that's, you know, it's buying a Coke. So it's it doesn't curb anything. And that's on the NHLPA. That's not on player safety. That's what they negotiated for, and you know, that's kind of the way it went. But I firmly believe that if it would have been below the half visor, if he would have caught him in the chin with that headbutt or whatever, and you'd have to be pretty low down to catch Yamamoto in the chin. But
yeah, he's not right.
But you know, if it was below the visor, yeah, he'd get a game or two for sure.
Yeah. I thought it was dirty. I think we'll see Rasmus have to tangle with somebody. I just looked up his size. He's 6'1", 215.
Yeah, he's not the biggest guy either.
Well, that's 6'1", 215 is a hell of a lot bigger than 5'9", 150.
Right. I mean, he dwarfs Yamamoto, but let's face it, Nurse is quite a bit bigger boy too. And Nurse fed him his lunch once before, I do believe. Yeah. What did you think about the Puljujärvi penalty there when he was kind of at the top of the crease and Markstrom went for a Vancouver Canucks diving team attempt there?
I don't know. Goalie sold it a little bit, I think. Yeah, I would say. I, again, appreciated Puljujärvi's comments after the post game too. Yeah, I like to be there. That's where I need to be. But you know, and that's the theme for me. It's great to see Puljujärvi in front of the net and tangling with goalies and willing to engage and willing to take those hacks and cross checks because man, he's tough to move.
Yeah, no. that we need somebody that'll stand there and be a shit disturber, and I think we've got three of them now in Yessi and Zach Hyman and Warren Fogle. I think there's three guys that are, and Cassian.
Oh, Yamel's not. Yamel will go to the grease too.
Yeah, he just doesn't have the size to be as effective
to
there,
defend
right?
it. That's right. Yeah.
If you got these guys that are as big or bigger than the goalies, because goalies are big now, but standing there and refusing to move, and in Smitty's office and just being more or less like Ryan Smith against J.S. Jaguar, driving goalies nuts. I mean, I love to see that. And
Avery and Brodeur.
Yeah, I mean, and you get rewarded for it, right? There's always garbage and greasy goals, and
yeah, absolutely. Why don't I jump in with our other segment with the frack? I actually looked at a couple, so one I know you're expecting, but the other one I'm going to surprise you with. So we're going to split it up into two questions, but both goaltending focused. And just a reminder, what we do with What the Frack segment is try to look outside the Oilers and talk about something else that's going on in the NHL. So this week I want to ask you what the frack is going on with Tuukka Rask.
Yeah, well, to my knowledge, Tuukka is had surgery or something, and probably not ready to go until after Christmas, January, February. And Tuukka's story is that he's not going to play anywhere other than Boston, and I think not quite a Tampa Bay Lightning scenario, but I think the Bruins will find a way to sign him, and I'm not exactly sure how much he'll play, but they might use him as a mentor for what they got going on now. And if they're in need of help there, then they've got it, and if they just need that mentor, then they've got it too, and kind of an insurance plan for the playoffs. I think he's going to be a Boston Bruin in the new year, but.
Cross that bridge when they get there, figure out how healthy he is, if he can come back and play like January, February, pay him accordingly, I guess. But it sounds like there's a handshake agreement there that Tuukka's coming back to Boston. I guess if that's all he can do is mentor, that's what it is. It is what it is. But I'd love to see, all in all, or essentially he get to play the games. If Tuukka Rask's one of the best playoff goaltenders of the last decade. So, I think Boston's chance to get anywhere in the playoffs is going to be with Tuukka. But I do think it's pretty Lightning-esque. You said I'm not sure it is. I don't know, man. And I think they're just quite happy to leave him there till February and see how it goes and line it up. It's, it's harder to pull off what Tampa did in a longer season. It's easier in 56 games, but to do it for 82, I don't know. We'll see. My second question is, what the frack did you think of the Leafs signing Alex Bishop to an amateur tryout because they can't compile with the cap?
Delicious.
Fun to watch him suffer a little bit, hey? Can't even call up an AHL goaltender as your backup because you're so cap-ridden. Constraints everywhere.
I laugh at some of the former NHLers and mainly former Leafs like Carly Yakovo. Saying that the NHL needs to change this and make an emergency, this, that, or whatever. Why? Because Toronto can't figure out their cap situation? Fuck that. Like, they got into their mess. They got into their mess. They need to deal with it. Yeah, Tampa
would have been it would have been fun to see him get to play just after the whole David Aries thing. In fact, I think Aries piped in on Twitter and said you should have worn number 70 for good luck or something like that.
Yeah, that story will never die. It's great.
Well, it's one of the greatest stories in hockey. I mean, why it should never die. I thought it was fantastic that David did what he did. Watching Alex, we watch a kid live out his dream. He's University of Toronto goaltender. He gets to sit there on the bench. But how do you feel if you're the AHL goaltender that can't get called up because your team's management is stupid?
Yeah. No,
that's with Austin Matthews on the IR still, too, isn't it not? He hasn't played yet, so
I am not sure.
Does his cap count, or is that only LTIR that you can hide your cap?
Yeah, that is not my area of expertise. I'm not sure.
Well, let's just say if Austin Matthews is not counting against the cap, and they still can't comply. That's pretty scary.
I got something else for you that you weren't expecting for our little what the frack here too. Just one sec.
Nice. I've got the blue version.
Yeah, this is like a fourth jersey McFarland concept. I don't have any letters or numbers, but yeah. There we go. Hidden gem.
Where'd you get that?
That came under the Christmas tree one year.
Was it
Yeah.
I've never seen the white version before.
Yeah, well, somebody on Twitter posted one. I think that they had like done up in McDavid, but I was like, yeah, I got one of those. Yeah, so it was like a fourth jersey concept that they were gonna bring out, but it never actually did come out. So yeah,
Interesting. Yeah, I've got that blue version. I took it to the world's longest hockey game. I was going to try and get Yoni Niinema to sign it for me, but he was busy.
it's probably one of the more polarizing things like in Oiler history. Like you either love that jersey or you can't stand it. There is no middle ground on it, and I thought it was cool. Like
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
I thought it was futuristic. Like actually on this one, I don't know if it shows up on here, but the kind of the silver on there,
Yeah,
kind of shines. Like it was pretty neat. Like, it's almost like Kesha and the glitter, but
shines, it shimmers like your
Yeah.
eyes.
yeah, no, I enjoyed it. So
Very
kept
cool.
it. Yeah. Oh man, you got anything else? What are you thinking?
Well, curious what you think we're going to do in the next few games. You know, we've got, what is it, the Ducks up next?
Yeah, and I heard
Ducks on Tuesday and then Coyotes on Thursday. I wouldn't say that the Ducks or the Coyotes are up there in too many power rankings. So,
no, and I heard John Gibson tweak something, so he's kind of day to day. So
yeah,
he might not even play against us
yeah,
on Tuesday. So yeah,
yeah, I heard that same thing. So, when your best player's out and you're already a pretty poor team, that bodes well for us. It's not that I want to jinx anything, knock on wood.
I mean it's real early here, but is Arizona going to take a run at being the worst in the league?
Mhm. They sure are. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the fall for right. Everybody wants to draft right. I think Buffalo's doing it too. As soon as they signed Craig Anderson, that was pretty much them signing a contract that they were. Yeah, it looks like the McDavid year, and that kid is good, man. He apparently, by all accounts, is NHL ready, and doesn't have any deficiencies in his game. I had the special, what's it called when you're playing in major junior at 16, the consensus or whatever it's called, special. What's the word
yeah,
I'm looking for?
yeah.
Anyways, but he's got the blue chip pedigree, and we saw Buffalo and Phoenix tank for McDavid, and here we are, how many years later, and they're still tanking. It's sucked to be a fan of those franchises, but
Yeah, Buffalo's won their first two games. That's kind of funny.
yeah, actually, now that you say that, that is.
And
Um,
like they're building their well, it was under 10,000, like I think about 8,500, but it looked like about 1,500 at their first game.
yeah, for sure. I don't know. I can almost see. I don't think a 4-0 start is out of the question, is it?
Well, you got to approach each game the same way, and I use it often, but have that Chicago Bulls kind of professional attitude where you're just out to eat every night. You're eating steak every night, and you can't change from that. You start taking teams lightly, and that's where you lose games. I think it is kind of a sign of growth, from last year when we ran the table against the Senators. So maybe they've climbed the mountain a little bit in terms of not taking teams too lightly and not looking to the next game. So I hope that's kind of the way it is. And yeah, to me, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that we're talking next Sunday about a 4-0 record. I hope that's the case, and that's the way it should be. But you got to do it. You can't just talk about it.
3 games before we got Vegas on Friday as well. So by the time our next podcast comes up, we'll have played 5 games.
So we go Tuesday, Thursday, Friday.
That's right.
Okay.
So what do you think our record is after Ducks Tuesday, Coyotes Thursday, Knights Friday, and our podcast comes on Sunday?
Well, it'd be great to be 5-0. Like I don't know. I am not sold on Vegas being as lethal as what a lot of pundits and that are saying. I just I mean, Seattle gave them a hell of a game for their first game ever. And that's probably as disjointed as of a team as you're going to find, right? Because they're all getting to know each other and that. I mean, we've had a lot of turnover this year, but it's not like a team just built from scratch. So
yeah, well, you and I both agreed on the heavy hockey season preview show too, that I think that they're going to miss Fleury. There's some injuries on the back end. I don't know. I think they're on their little dwindle down anyways. I would say they're starting to fall off a little bit. So if we can take that next step up, I can't remember what your prediction was for the season, but I picked the Oilers for the division. So
yeah, me too. And I thought Vegas would be second, but
yeah, me too.
I think Seattle's going to be better than kind of what I was thinking too. They're not terrible. I knew they. I
think I was the only one that said they wouldn't make the playoffs. I think all three of you guys said that they would.
I think you and Hebert both said they weren't going to be a playoff team, but
I don't listen to Hebert.
Yeah, I think they will be a playoff team, but they might surprise and be just a little bit better than coming in at the last second. Yeah, Vegas. I think Pacioretty and somebody else, Stone. I think both of those guys took kind of a little bit of significant injuries, so they might be ripe for the picking. So yeah, I'll swing for the fence and say we're 5-0 next Sunday.
Wow, man, good. It's hard for me to disagree with you. I don't want to be too much of a homer, and I don't want to agree with you. So I'm going to say 4-1, but I can't even say who the hell they're going to lose to be honest. I really do think that they'll run over the Coyotes. Maybe it's the Knights, but at the end of the season, I bet you it's not like we're going to lose all 4 games to the Knights. Maybe we split them, and this is one of the ones we lose, or I don't know. Koskinen often plays the second half of back-to-backs, not the first half. It's traditionally been Koskinen on the back half, and he's actually really good at it. So I can't imagine they play Koskinen in their biggest challenge of the year against Vegas, but it'd be interesting to see what he does with the goaltending, because Tippett generally likes to go with Koskinen on the back end of those. So when they go Thursday, Friday, I'm going to maybe guess that we see Koskinen against the Coyotes and Smith against the Golden Knights. What do you think the Tippett will do with the goaltending?
Yeah. I'd like to think that he's going to play Smith against the Golden Knights, but I'm not sold on that either.
Yeah. If it wasn't a back-to-back, I'd say no problem, but just his tradition of... And I think like Koskinen's 6-1-1 in playing in those back-to-backs too. Like he's pretty good. So yeah, I don't know. That's going to be interesting to see. And then after that, we've got the Flyers and the Canucks and the Kraken. So I think there'll be 3 solid challenges there coming after. So maybe you're right, and it's 5-0, and then we finally meet our maker with one of the next 3. But already we're at a better place than we were last year. And last year's poor start. So I like what I see.
Yeah, the depth, that forward depth and the defense, kind of treading water is encouraging.
It feels like a new Oiler team, does it not? Like I'm trying to watch games, and it's a different ebb and flow out there. Like it's like I said earlier, when I'm trying to catch Cece and Keith in a mistake, and it's just the puck isn't in our end area much anymore. And I don't know whether it's that forward depth or the Hyman, Fogle, improved PRV, improved Yamamoto puck possession game, or what it is, but it feels like a new Oilers team almost a little bit this year so far.
There's more fight on the walls, both in our end and in the opposition end. Um, I mean, Zach Hyman is relentless. That's the best word I can use to describe the guy. He's relentless, and Fogel's the same way. Like he's just pursue, 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 punish, 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 strong, and discipline. You know,
Yeah.
they're a pain in the ass to play against. The most undisciplined player we have right now is Kyler Yamamoto.
Yeah. Did he take 2 penalties after getting headbutt in the face?
Oh,
3?
I'm pretty sure he had 3 penalties last night. Yeah, yeah. And I mean, he's playing hard. He's a little chihuahua, just barking at everything.
Yeah. He's always been that way, I think that he plays on the edge. He always has. He's cocky. He's confident. He plays 50 pounds heavier than he is. So, none of this surprises me. But yeah, he's got to reel in the discipline a little bit. I think, you got to create some space out there for yourself and let some of these guys know that you can't be picked on, but you can't take bad penalties for your team either.
There isn't a huge drop off from line to line, really. Like it just they keep coming and keep coming.
Yeah.
Derek Ryan gets a goal to get it going. I mean, the depth scoring is already there. Last forever, we're always, wanting somebody other than Connor and Leon to do something. It's there now. And then, if you take a penalty against these guys, you're in trouble. Like that's really like a lot of people say now. I mean, we don't need an enforcer. That's our power play. And I guess that follows into Ken Holland's lap because I mean that was the Detroit Red Wings before, and that's kind of where we're at now. It's going at a pretty good clip. I think what did we have 2 power play goals last night? So Connor
50% so far on the season.
Connor's one-timer work that he's putting in is paying off.
Yeah. Yeah, he fluffed it right in the top corner there.
Fluffing it right home, yeah.
The post-game beaks were funny too because, of course, they try to get him to stir the pot, and there's Leon, talking about Connor still fluffing off shots, and when Spector asked Jesse who has a better one-timer, oh man, did I ever laugh when Draisaitl with that coy smile and that side eye, you better say the right thing. And still, yes, he's witty enough with his second language to say Connor with that shit-eating grin on his face, man. It's a fun team to watch. I think if we're going to keep seeing this many penalties and special teams play, like whether we're killing them or on the power play, you almost don't need a 4th line. And, I think Tippett said in his post game, that was one of the biggest challenges he had was trying to get some of those other players involved. But when we've got a 3rd line with Cassie and Fogel and Ryan relentlessly forechecking and putting that pressure on and dumping it in and banging, and then you can still go back to potentially the best top 6 in hockey. Man, it's like if you can roll 3 lines, you're pretty good, and then that takes the pressure off the D, which has come to fruition so far.
Yeah. We were talking earlier about Bouchard getting some elevated minutes. One of the reasons why is he's Nurse's partner to start penalty kill, and then they go to Keith and Cece, and I mean. It's kind of like you get worn out on the power play against these guys because they play a physical brand of hockey. Like Bouchard's not small. Like I didn't realize how much size he actually has too.
Yeah, he made a nice play on Taychuk early in the game there.
Yeah, he's got good size. I missed it, but I heard that Keith leveled one guy too. I think does Calgary have a player, Lewis?
I must have missed that as well.
Yeah, I missed it, but I heard it was a pretty good check, but it wasn't really shown. Like it was kind of in the peripheral. Great. I like some mean defenders. Like you don't need to be nice all the time out there. Just
no, exactly. Well, Bouchard led the Oilers' defense in penalty kill minutes, so he was out there killing more penalties than any other player, right? He said he starts with Nurse, and Nurse was just behind him, which makes a ton of sense. But nice that when you've got Barry and Nurse patrolling that power play, that we can deploy Bouchard for the penalty kill and rely on him. I thought he did struggle in a couple of instances on the penalty kill, but he's still a young player. He's turning 22 next week, and I don't know. This is kind of the time when defensemen break out and start to hit their prime is right around 22, 23. So I'm excited to see the rest of the season and the way Bouchard plays this out, because I think he's already outplaying my expectations, and I had high expectations.
I thought Cuckoo was okay too. Last night.
Limited time.
Kind of the same as Keith and CC, not trying to do too much, just go do your job. Not become the focal point of the game, because usually if you're doing that, that means you're making mistakes. So,
well, it's play your 7 minutes and don't get scored on. That's really Cuckoo's job, and he did that. So
I liked the temperature of that game, but I kind of knew there wasn't going to be any fisticuffs in that. People were calling for another goalie fight, but I don't know.
Markstrom would skate straight to the dressing room and pee his pants before he would ever fight Mike Smith. There isn't a chance, man.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's too many goalies in the league with the kahunas to step up to Mike Smith. I mean, I'm always going to give Cam Talbot credit for doing that, because I think even Cam knew he was probably going to take a bit of a licking, but signed up for it anyway.
Yeah, Robin Leonard. I could see that happening. He's similar size. He trains MMA, and I heard him on his interview on Spit and Chicklets, and they were talking about the wrestling that goes on in the dressing room, and apparently Leonard can throw Ryan Reeves around and ragdoll him. Like, you can't take Robin Leonard off of his feet. He grew up in MMA. He still trains MMA, and his dad was a goaltending and is a goaltending coach. His dad helped Henrik Lundqvist along in his career. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But yeah, unless you're bringing back Dan Kluche or, Emery, it's pretty tough.
Yeah, Razor Ray Emery, the night in Buffalo.
Man, when he fought Peters, that was one of the greatest hockey moments. I couldn't believe that was happening. Never mind having a shit-eating grin on his face the entire time he's fighting one of the league's heavies. That was awesome.
Martin Biron would pull the Cam Talbot on that little go, and then Peters is like, okay, you're next, and sure, let's go.
Yeah. Well, Emery was just tough. He wasn't a monster, right? Like, he's like, Smith's a fucking monster, and Leonard's a monster. Like, those guys are big boys. Or Dan Kluche and Emery just had a screw loose.
Yeah. Go back to the days of Juan Osgood, man. We could have a show on just goalie fights. They need to happen more often. They're just great. Like,
It's true.
I love goalie fights because more than anything, really, honestly, because they got all that gear on. So I mean that's a challenge, but with all that gear on, you're not like the Cassian incidents. I don't think you're worried about that with a goalie, because they got so much on that it just. I don't think that comes into play, but it's just
they're like the intermission guys in the big bubbles. They're just kind of protected.
It's just awesome to like. I can't. I don't even know how they can throw like with the chest protector and that. Like it's awesome. It's just
can't be easy. That's for sure.
No.
I'd like to see one.
That's something we got to ask Chad Graham if we get him back on again. If he's ever been in a few goalie fights, I'm pretty sure he has. But
yeah, I was talking to Gager. He's been in a few. He said he did okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a whole different beast, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
As my hockey career, I pretty much wore the Paul Coffey Special Cooper shoulder pads for most of it. So if I ever needed to do anything, you certainly could. But
yeah, for sure. I got into my late 30s and I barely even wore them unless it was a league rule that you had to. So.
Yeah. Now, I mean, I don't even own any anymore. I just put on elbow pads and that's it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I'm not hitting anybody, so it's yeah. I guess
Perfect.
I'll probably take a few shots in the chest and stuff. I've had a few welts. The ribs might hurt a little.
That's what I was just gonna say. Exactly that. Exactly. Yeah, the
Now,
ribs might take them. Well, as long as you're not sliding, taking, blocking shots and that sort of thing, I'm sure you'll be fine.
now you know where to cross check me if we ever get another Oilers Live Cup game.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Maybe you, me, and Hebert will be on the same line. Maybe we'll be on different teams. Who knows, eh?
Yeah.
Eric, how it goes. If we're not on the same team, we're fighting. That's all I know.
Eric, Mr. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I am Beaks on Twitter. Him and his brother, we were at the community arena, and they were on separate teams. And his brother's pretty good, too. Ryan's a really good hockey player, and I'm like skating behind the net, and like the play was kind of stopped, so I'm just kind of like waiting for people to get changed done or whatever, and the puck to be dropped. And Ryan's standing there, like staring over top of his brother, like staring him down, and his brother's laying on the ice. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And he's taking a while to get up, and I thought the whole time his brother was like milking it and faking it or whatever. Yeah, he fucked up his brother at an Oilers Live Cup game. Like, he injured him, and he was staring him down. And his brother got up and finished the game and whatever. But then he was like injured for 3 or 4 months. And I thought the whole time it was a thing. And I was bugging him and chirping him. And yeah, he was actually hurt.
Brotherly love, like the Taychuks dropping him, or the Primo brothers, I think, scrapped as well. Yeah. There's been a few brothers, and maybe the Sutters have scrapped. I don't know.
When we play these games too, like, I get an assist and I got to do the George Larac and skate to the end and hammer the boards and whatever, just to
jumping into the glass.
Yeah, just try to like make the fans think it's just the greatest thing ever. Try to put on a show, but
it's awesome. Fun. Yeah, looking forward to it. I hope we can get a game going.
Yeah, me too. It's a lot of fun.
Sweet. Well, you think we've rang enough off the crossbar for one night, or what?
Yeah, I mean, it's good to be able to talk actual, X's and O's and
yeah, man,
the actual hockey rather than kind of the, trades and signings and, the managerial part of the game. But
the off season.
Yeah, the game against Vancouver was good and everything, but nothing like another Battle of Alberta on a Saturday night, and it seemed like Rogers was rocking, and that environment and that energy and all that. Kind of been starving for that, and you forget how much you miss it. Like
totally.
We had hockey, but it almost felt like preseason, right? Because there's nobody there, and
even listening to the fans chanting during the post-game interviews, right? And yes, I can hear them. It is good. Like that. It sounds like the playoffs in Rogers.
Yeah. And I don't know.
For half a barn, that's pretty good.
Well, I think last night was like a sellout. But.
Paper.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, all the seats were sold, but I think probably about 1,500 or 2,000 people stayed home. But the night before that, I mean, the first game against Vancouver was definitely lighter. I would say probably around 15,000 there or something. So, yeah. Well,
looking forward to the next one. We'll talk to you on Sunday. I say 4-1. You say 5-0, and I hope you're right.
Run the table.
Let's run it.
Yeah. All right. As we always say, keep your sticks on the ice and keep reaching for the stars. We'll see you next Sunday at 9 o'clock, all things being equal. Have a good night. Peace out.
Always good to chat, Durst. Good game, bud.
All right.
Effort out there, bud.
Yeah. Shut her down right at an hour on the nose.
Hey, how's that? Stick to the game plan. Play the system.
Full 60 minutes we put in today.